What could we get started? So we have the privilege today to continue. We're going to Be'ez Hashem finish this sikha. This sikha has been like this sikha has been one that has been striking a chord by many people. The chaver that are learning with us online, and even the chaver amongst us here. There's something very, very important that has been coming out of this sikha. The chiddush, the wonderment that everything that you need to be an Eved Hashem and to do things the best and the most shlemistic way is right in front of you is really threatening. It's really scary. And it's really petrifying, but it's also so emes and it's so true. It doesn't mean you are perfect. But it means that right now, everything that Hashem put in your lap is exactly what you need in order for Hashem to not invite Himself, for you to invite Hashem into where you're at now, and that place is called perfect. Where you're now. Nice to meet you. Refuah Shlema? Refuah Shlema?
What's that?
She's good? Almost.
Who's she, you know?
Which she?
No. Your daughter wasn't feeling good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, wait.
I'm sorry.
It's perfect, Rabbi.
It's perfect. Exactly. It's shlemus. So, I think a great way for us to take this teaching and what we call yisum, which means the implementation of it, is to ask yourself right now, why don't I believe in that statement? What stops me from believing in that statement? That everything that I need in order to really be in a state of shlemus with Hashem is right in front of me right now. What prevents me? Where is the comparative reality in my life with the way I look at others and the way that I look at a previous me too? Or what I think a future me is going to be. The revelation of the sikha of the tzaddik here, of this sweet, beautiful tzaddik, Rav Kluger, is that Bechira Chavshis has only to do with one thing: how you vision and how you term the now. That's what Bechira is. Bechira is choosing that now is a great opportunity to invite Hashem into where I am right now. It's a very big thing. Because we usually think I have to do this, and this in order for this. I always tell people that are looking to get married or not looking to get married, they say, I don't know if I'm ready for, I'm not sure I'm ready to date. I'm like, it's interesting. I'm a father of 4. I'm not sure I'm ready to be a father yet. What does that mean, I'm not ready yet? Morning sun. What does that even mean? For the real big things in life. Like imagine Am Yisrael, we would have said, listen, in order for us to be back in Eretz Yisrael, we have to really be ready, like the way the world views what real, readiness of starting a country is all about, right? There's no chance, no one would ever. It's done, kaput. It's done. So this amazing inyan of emunah being that right now, mamash, right now is what I need, and it pushes me to throw all the comparisons to other people, all the other shalom bites, And it forces me to look with histaklus Pnimiyus, like we're saying Pnimiyus, to look inside. Because with inside eyes, I am able to see that I have whatever it is that I need. Remember, the Choved Reb Zusha is the Yortzeit today. He's the Yortzeit of the Rebbe Reb Zusha. Last night we sang Rebbe Reb Zusha in Anapoli, because it was the Rebbe Reb Zusha's Yortzeit. So Rebbe Reb Zusha, remember, it's not about Reb Zusha, but it could have been about Reb Zusha. I've told you the story many times about the tzaddik, Rebbe Radishitz, the first the Rebbe of Radishitz. Remember the story, Eli, about he was mamish like Reb Zusha, nothing. He had nothing, right? And it looked like a big schlepper. They even called him Beryl the Batlan, which means Beryl the bum. But he had one inyan that he really took really seriously, more than other things. In his tefillah, there was one bracha that he said with extra kavanah, more than any other bracha. Which one was that, remember? Sha'asali kol tzarke. Like, that's the one he really screamed, Hashem, that you made for me everything I need. And at a certain point, the other Hasidim were like, why are you making a mockery out of the brachas? You, the Batlan, look at you, look at your life, look at your house, look at your clothes. You're going to come here and scream, Hashem, what would a bracha she'asali kol tzarke? It's like anyone that knows you thinks like you're kind of making a mockery out of Hashem, because obviously, look, you barely have anything. So he turned to that chassid, he said, what a chutzpah. How do you know that I don't have everything that I need in order to fix my neshama? I didn't say Sha'asali et kol retzoni, that he gave me everything I want. I say Sha'asali kol tzarki, that you gave me everything that I need in order to be the best Eved Hashem in the world. That's emunah. This is what we're focusing on this histaklut pnimit, an inner way of looking at life. And thus, when you can say that, I have everything that I need, so he says that's an ish matzliach. That's hatzlacha. That's how we redefine the term success. We want to be successful people. Our success, Rav Kluger is saying to us, if I believe b'emunah shlema, that I have everything that I need in order to be an Eved Hashem b'shleimus. Okay. So now we're going to finish this sikha, and I just want to remind you that what prevents us from believing in that statement that I have everything that I need? Comparative reality. Whenever I fall into anything that has to do with looking at things the way they have it, I'm out. I could have everything. I can even be doing a lot of holy things, but the second and it's like something that everyone falls into all the time because we live with people. We're not isolated on a mountaintop somewhere. However, even if we were isolated on a mountaintop somewhere, we would still fall into the trap of comparative reality. To who? To where I was last time I was in this scenario. Or where I want to be, but definitely not where I am right now and what I have in front of me right now. Wow, remember how last year's Yontif was? Remember last year's davening? It's amazing. You can go up to the Amid, you can be Chazan, you can be davening in your own place, Rosh Hashanah, and it can be the highest davening in the world. But your davening stinks. Why? It's not because you have bad machshavas. It's just because in your mind you're thinking of, wow, but I remember that last year the davening was so-and-so, and that's the imagery that I have in my mind. So it must be at least that. It could be today. This year's davening is a complete finish. Got to snap out of that one as well. So this is how he finishes off this sikha. We're on the bottom of page Kuf Ayin Zayin. So it's the bottom paragraph over here. Kedusha says manim b'nefashos, because what he's saying now is he's relating to people that approach Yantiv, and they're on such shpilkas Yantiv that it's not going to be as good as what they think it probably was last time. You know, I told you that I was at Shabbos with my father, with my parents in Ranan, and I was walking up certain streets that I didn't walk in years because I had to go with my father to a bar mitzvah somewhere. And I passed by one of the apartments we lived in. I passed by my mother's office where she used to work. I passed by my high school. I passed by all these streets that, for some reason, seemed so much more narrow. Meaning they seemed so much more wide. No, I mean, I'm definitely put on a few pounds since high school, but it's not like, how could it be that, like, the streets themselves, it seemed so much more narrow now, and everything seemed, and I started saying to my Abbas, like, when I would bike home from here, I used to calculate which hills I don't want to go on because they seem too steep. But I'm looking at this now. This seems like it's such shtuyot. This is just a little tiny. It's not such a big inyan. But because of how I remembered it, so I still in my mind, that's what that is, right? But just like we grow physically, we also go spiritually, which means that certain things, certain nisyonos in life, that once upon a time seemed like, oh my God, that's like a steep hill. You've grown. So when you meet it again, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the same thing. But in your mind, everything is all in comparison. Everything's always in comparison. Bottom line, it takes you out of the moment of activating your bechira. That's the bottom line of your free choice, of your free will. And what makes us who we are is Yidden that are sanctifying bechira chofshit. That right now I have a choice. Do I want to be here or not? I have a choice right now. Do I want my heart to open right now while I'm learning or not? Or do I want to say, check, I went to Shir. And if I'm going to start comparing to how Shir was on Sunday to today, I already lost. And I already stopped these words from having a chance to have any meaning in my life. Okay, so having said all that, let's look inside. This is the bottom of Kufay. בכך בכל זמן מסוגל כאשר יש רצון בנשמת ישראל עם קודש להתחברות ולדבקות בהיום טוב. So every time, what does it say? Mikadesh Yisrael v'azmanim. Yontivs are zmanim. There are times. They are opportunities. There are opportunities for us to connect to something, to sanctify ourselves, to sanctify the concept of time, to connect, to be davuk, to cling ourselves to the holiness of a yontiv, of a certain day. So he says over here, Yesh ladat shebizmanim na'alim ka'ele, one must know, in these exalted times, ha'et le'itromem el kedushat ha'yontiv, it's the time of ascending towards the holiness of the yontiv, liyot bivchinat min bemino im ha'yontiv, is to be with, wherever you're at, min bemino means, part and parcel, with, in this situation, with the yontiv. That means where you are and where the yontiv is. Hainu, and this is the key here. Hainu liitchaber el hayontiv kfi haratzui v'atov be'elei Hashem. This is important. How do you connect to the yontiv? And not in terms of what you think is valuable. It's in terms of what you think Hashem feels is valuable. So, that's a very important thing. What do we usually fall under? What's the problem we generally have? We go into a Shabbos, we go into a Yontiv, and we don't really connect to what's going on because of what?
Expectations.
Our expectations of what it should be, or what's considered a real dvekus in something. When really, Rav Kluger is saying, when you go into Yontiv, stop for a second. Ask yourself, what's Yakar? How is it viewed here by Hashem? What does dvekus here by Hashem seem like? How does Hashem look at this Yontiv, right? ולא להידבק בו רק על ידי הסתכלות חיצונית של עשיית מה שנחשב בעיני העולם גרידא. And not to connect to it only by this outer way of looking at things in terms of what's considered valuable in the eyes of the world. What's a good example for this? What's a very good example for something like this?
That's right.
Yeah, I was going to think, Dalan Minim, definitely. What's another one? What's another good example of what might, again, how would I know if the Yontiv's on? And viewing that question, how do I really value?
You show up the next day in shul and everybody's comparing how late.
Seder went. Exactly.
What the heck is that?
Exactly.
Any of the essence of the
That's a very, very big one. That's a
Somehow,
very,
for
very
3
big
o'clock in the
one.
morning, wow, it must have been the holiest Seder.
Right, could be that.
Or it was
The
like
wine
the
was really
least
it could be.
connected because everybody was just trying to stretch it out.
What else? What other? Histaklut chitzonit. On a Shabbos, histaklut chitzonit. There was one Shabbos here months ago. What's that?
Where?
Levush, definitely. There was one Shabbos months ago. It was only one time it happened in the last 2 years. We didn't dance on Friday night. Why? Just because the nigun didn't really... It was a nigun that wasn't exactly dance mode. Guess what? That's okay. Meaning, if I have to dance every Friday night, I'm meshuabad, I'm enslaved to a chitzoni concept of this is considered heilig. And that Friday night when we didn't dance, I was like, I would love to dance, but I'm not going to force myself to dance because that's what I did last Shabbos. Where I am right now, this dveikus is amazing. So someone's going to come that Friday night and say, I thought Shirat David was, or whatever. I thought you got... That's chitzoni. That's all outside stuff. All of it. What's another example of this? Shavuos. Did you stay up all night? Did you learn all night? Shavuos, everyone comes with every sefer they ever got from the bar mitzvah to Tikkun Leil Shavuos, right? Tikkun Leil Shavuos, how long is Tikkun Leil Shavuos? It's like a night seder. It's like a morning seder. It's 4 or 5 hours. It's not, it's not that much. Those things, right? Shavuos, Baruch Hashem, we've had tishes, and then we've had learning, but the tish itself, it could be a few minutes of thinking about Matan Torah. I had with the kids this year. I remember the kids came first, the teenagers. We spent like half hour talking about what Am Yisrael really heard at Matan Torah. The half hour with the boys talking about that was higher than 3 hours of singing and telling stories of the Baal Shem Tov and David HaMelech. It was. Why? Because we just allowed ourselves to realize this is what the holiest thing in the world is. So this concept of histakut pnimit can be seen everywhere, in every single place of your life. וכל אחד, next paragraph, וכל אחד ואחד, יש לו בזה דרגתו ועבודתו לפי ערכו. Each person has this according to their own level and their avodah, according to their value. אם על ידי תורה, או על ידי תפילה, או עבודה אחרת. You could apply this through your value of learning, or through your value of tefillah, or any other avodah that you do. Meaning sometimes, let's face it, sometimes the highest davening really could be like a 20-minute powwow where you let everything in the world out. Right? And for you, for that really is all that it took to shake your own heaven and earth, as of what the world thinks. And then he says like this, V'yitkayim ma'amar Chazal, and here we say that the words of Chazal will become existing. Chatof ve'echol, grab and drink, grab and drink. Grab and eat, grab and drink. Chatof ve'echol, chatof ve'ishti. Grab and drink, grab and grab and eat, grab and sip. The alma dazlinan mine. Since this world is this world is like a passing transit place. Dazlinan mine. Kehilula dami. It's like a wedding banquet. Right? So just you grab it's a smorgasbord. Grab whatever you can. Now, what does that mean? Grab whatever you can. Like Reb Nosson always wrote to his son, Rabbi Yitzchak, all those letters Reb Nosson was writing to his son, telling you, Rabbi Yitzchak, chatof, grab any moment you could grab of a mitzvah. Don't worry about the accumulative, grab whatever you can. You have a moment to tell someone a good word, just grab it. You have a moment to learn 3 minutes, grab it. Just do that, grab. Why? Because we're out of here in a minute. We're out of here in a minute.
Not everything has to be planned exactly the way you. Sometimes it'll just be there in front of you, and if you don't, then you have to grip.
Correct.
And also in those letters, it's like that he acknowledges like everything is horrible. Like a lot of those letters, it's like I get it, everything's horrible, but that one moment where it's not,
right?
Grab it. Take hold of it.
Don't wait until everything is not horrible. just grab it. Just grab it. Umimela. If you have koyach to say a little bit of tehillim, or latet pruta letzedakah, or to give a shekel and a half to tzedakah, v'zeh hakarov ata lelibcha, but this is now close to your heart what you're doing, right? Om shemach mas hayontev, tafchit min hara mashu dak, or because of the kedusha of the yontev, you'll, I don't know, like remove yourself a little bit from a little bit of bad. B'dargatcha shata omed ba, on whatever level you're holding. Harei shezu lecha haderech lehagia el hayontev. This is your way to reach the yontev that you're dealing with. Ve'en lecha yekar mizeh, and there's nothing greater than this. And this is really, I found this to be big, big musar for me. I think I've messed up tons of yontevs, I'll be honest. I think tons of my Yom Tovim have mamish been in this comparative reality state of how I envisioned what it should be based on last year. But really, if I think about it, even last year I wasn't really where I thought I was. It's just in my mind and in my memory, I remember as if it was so heilig and high. I just forget how much struggles I had last year in Yom Tov.
That could also be chitzonios. Meaning, could be.
Of course it is.
You really were holding. You think you weren't holding. You think you were comparing to what the previous year should have been. But to Tachlis, you were really.
Right.
You were holding. You were exactly where you should have been.
For sure, it's chitz, but that's still chitzoni.
I mean, even now, right? Even now, saying, "Boy, I was so chitzoni." That's chitzoni.
Exactly. Why? But now, why is that chitzoni?
Because you're not malay shalem with where you were.
Or where you are.
Holding. You're still thinking like you're actually using this way of thinking like against you. You know, you're saying like, oh, it's chitzonios, and so that now that I know this Torah, boy, I'm able to look back. I mean, really, I don't think that's what it's trying to get you.
It's not, and it's not. It's still outside, because it has nothing to do with now. It has nothing to do with now. Nothing. Now, where does this also apply? At the Shabbos table, when we were single, before we were married, or when we were married, waiting for kids. We had to be envisioned, we imagined Gevalt, when we have children, and the way they're going to sit around the Shabbos table, and the lights are going to be there, and Abba's going to come home, and the Shechina and the Malachim are going to leave us the second we say Tzeitzchem L'Shalom, and the Kinderlach, we're going to see, like the Tzaddikim say, how their eyes are shining, right? Friday night, huh?
That's how it is, man.
Hey, by the Brits, but no, not by us Americans so much, but yeah. So Rav Kluger is saying, he's basically saying, that's a holy picture. And guess what? It's so chitzoni. Because if that's not what's happening right now, then it can't be Pnimi by you. Pnimi is where you're at now with what you have right now. It's such an important lesson. It's so deep. It's so important. It's so real. This is what you have to work with in order to get to the Pnimiyus of what's in front of you right now. You can only use what you can work with right now. You can't use what's not in front of you right now. So if you say, well, I'll wait till all of what I envision to be real and holy is in front of me, then guess what you're basically doing? What are you doing?
You'll never be real.
Hey, you'll never be real.
You're denying that Hashem is in charge.
That's really what it is. Well, not in charge, meaning you're denying that what Hashem placed in front of you right now is being mamish, is mamish for you. That's what you're really doing. You're really without even realizing it, you're kind of saying.
But does that mean that I shouldn't try for next week to have my children with glowing eyes sitting around the Shabbos table? Am I supposed to just say, obviously that's not me, so I'm not going to try to have it next week?
You're not even thinking about that in the moment. Maybe after the Shabbos table, but while you're there.
I'm saying for next week. I'm not saying for this week.
You know, then you're not there. Then you're not where you're at.
So at what point? It almost sounds like you're going to end up not doing hishtadlus in life because everything always is Sakash Baruch Hu.
Really?
I'm asking.
It's a difference.
You know that's not true. So I mean, we could
Is it-
dance around it, but you know that statement's not true
The
because
moment I'm doing the hishtadlus, I'm denying that Sakash Baruch Hu gave me and put in front of me what I'm supposed to have.
no, chas v'shalom, God forbid. When does the ishtadlus take place? And what is ishtadlus? If I accept the moment to be perfect right now, for me to just connect, guess what? That does more of a hachana for next Shabbos than anything else you could plan. You understand what I'm saying? That's hard to believe because we're trained and wired to think I have to do this and this and this as a hishtadlus for next week. And now we're saying the hishtadlus for next week is being present with whatever Hashem put in front of you right now. Your child sees that. That is greater hachana than anything you could take on afterwards. Moshe, I suffer. What you said is the way I think. It's the way everyone thinks here. We're all in this together, trying to rewire a lot of circuits that somehow, through exile or substances, got messed up. But you understand what I'm saying? We're all in this. We're all in this parsha because it's so hard to believe that hishtadlus means acceptance. We always think it's doing, fixing, changing. So much more. Yeah, you're sure. I thought you raised your hand.
No, I did.
You're out of here.
No. I'm getting a cup of coffee.
Okay.
I feel like that it's also not accepting that the present is, this is what perfect looks like. So thereby apathy.
Right.
It's saying, whatever this is, this moment gives me the tools that I need to continue to develop myself, and there's nothing outside of this moment. The tools for the continued development of my neshama are right here, right now, whatever that looks like.
Sounds
It's
like
not
a difficult
apathetic.
balance.
It's
What's
not
that?
It sounds like a
apathetic.
difficult balance.
No,
Yeah,
it's
not
very
apathy
easy.
of accepting like, oh, this craziness that's happening right now, this is perfect. I've reached the top of the mountain. This is it. I accept that this is perfection. It's not that. It's saying, and not
These are the
apathetic.
perfect tools.
That
for
Hashem
you to use again.
is giving me the tools right now, that I don't need to look for tomorrow or anything. Like right now, everything that I need to continue the work of my neshama is right here, right now. Period.
Why
Meaning
can't you-
not
why
acceptance
can't you
of
have
that.
both?
What's that?
Why can't you have both? Why can't you be in the moment, say, okay, this is the tools I have right now, live for this moment, and then afterwards say, you know what, for Kavod Shabbos, I want to start polishing my shoes.
You could.
I didn't do it before.
For sure.
As opposed to saying,
For
now
sure.
it's perfect, my shoes aren't polished, meaning by being in the moment and experiencing and accepting the moment, then I think your stylist will be to.
That's what- I think that's what we're
later.
saying.
The difference, I
But
think
you're
the
saying, but using, it's only by being in the moment
No,
and
no, no,
accepting
no.
it, if this is
I'm
perfect,
saying
that I'll realize to do more
no.
later.
I'm saying, how will I eventually get to polish my shoes, not in a comparative state of mind,
Okay.
but in a healthy way? Not thinking that if I do this, I'll be perfect. If I rid myself of expectations, then now that I polish my shoes, it'll be perfect.
Perhaps it's the difference
Do you
between
understand?
acceptance.
I'm
No,
sorry,
I
one
understand
second.
that.
This is very important.
Yeah.
Did anyone understand what I just said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to give it
Take
over
the other way,
clearer?
right? Take
Sorry.
it the other way,
No,
which
no,
is,
it's okay, it's
which
okay.
is if he doesn't end up polishing his shoes, if for whatever reason
Right,
it happens, if he doesn't
right.
end up polishing his shoes, where are you holding him? Are you like,
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, I
ruined,
made
I
a
didn't
Kabbalah,
polish my
I'm going to
shoes.
Exactly.
polish my shoes. This Shabbos I didn't get to do it. And I'm sorry. Hashem, it didn't
Absolutely.
work
This
out.
Wait, wait, hold on a second. That's about judging the moment. What I think he was saying is, how am I going to have a stylist for the next Shabbos? Like, meaning, yes, if I forgot to polish my shoes and I always do it, okay, great. It's
What's
perfect
your
now. I'm in the moment.
definition of
Right?
ishtadlus? What's your definition of
Always
ishtadlus?
trying my hardest
To
be
do
close
what?
Hashem.
To be close to very good. What does that entail? Is it entail more doing things or working on being present with what Hashem gave you right now?
It's such a big balance.
It's not, it's the same thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Working on being present right now, ridding yourselves of expectations enables you then later on in the week to do more hachanas. But you're only doing more hachanas to be more and more present. But you're not doing more and more hachanas to feel that everything is perfect.
You're doing the
But if
most
I'm
of
always
whatever you
present,
have.
then I'll never think to do more achana.
On the contrary, that's exactly the point. On the contrary, you'll do more achana, but where is it coming from? It's not coming from the expectation place of, if I do this, now it'll be perfect. It's just part of a longer picture.
Perhaps it's the difference between accepting a moment versus accepting a moment in time.
Rashi?
Meaning that are you accepting that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me everything that I have, so I'm going to be fine and apathetic in this situation and done? Or am I accepting that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me all the tools for the continuance of the journey?
Yeah.
So it's the difference between a moment versus a moment in time.
Eli.
Think of the Amshinover. The Amshinover spends hours in what we would call hachana.
Right.
But he's in the hachana in a different place.
Correct.
And we don't really think of Hasidim. I've been working on this only like my whole life. And we think of tzaddikim, and you say, well, they're always in bliss, they're always in it, and like, what's going on? And you think that they'd be sitting on their hands, but they're the most active people
Right.
in the world. How
Right.
does this work? Right? So Reb Usher, somebody one time asked him, he was in his 80s, and he was climbing up in Meron, on the mountain. And his Hasidim were huffing and puffing, and he's walking. And he said, Rebbe, aren't you tired? How do you do this? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. He goes, I'm not walking up a mountain. I'm taking one step. I'm just, every breath, I'm just taking one step.
Wow.
So if you have that sense, then somehow, we can't, like, the problem is we're
It's
thinking
beautiful.
this. We're thinking this, and you can't think it.
Right.
You have to be it.
Right.
Ellie, that's only part of the problem. Let's be honest here,
What-
right?
what you
Because tomorrow, it's like in a couple hours, everybody's gonna show up at a work desk or go, I don't know, treat clients or play patients or whatever it is, and you have this idea of an expectation. You're you're a doctor, you have to see X amount of patients in X amount of time. If you have a business and you need to get to, you have a sales game that you're trying to get after, or a marketing game, whatever it is, and you have to be working towards those goals. And so I'm gonna I guess take Moshe's question and bring it down to a practical level, which is not the hishtadlut question, but like the planning question. Like, I know these are our goals and aims. I'm supposed to have goals and aims. I know. Even if I haven't seen it written, I know it's written somewhere, right? But how do I balance having goals and being present fully, because they seem to be going contradictory. They seem to be going against each other.
Because the goals of having so many patients per hour is something that's chitzoni. It's out there, yeah, you have it, but it's how you're in it at the moment. And the problem is we constantly, I'm talking to myself now, because I'm constantly flopping back and forth between saying, oh, that goal is what matters. That goal is the key. And what I'm doing right now. Because when I'm right now, I'm not a doctor, but I got to be with my patient right now. Yeah, I know in the back of my head, right, I got to get through whatever. But if I'm not with my patient right now, and I'm worried about the guy at the end of the day, I'm not being a doctor.
And it's also getting to the end of the day and realizing whatever you've accomplished is exactly what you were meant to accomplish in that day. There's tomorrow. We've got tomorrow.
I'll share with you. I personally.
That's like
Let's go for it.
no. So what you're saying is just accepting at the end of my day is different than being in the moment.
It's like
Say,
Ellie saying, listen,
expecting.
if you have these goals you set for yourself, which I don't think the Rebbe's saying not to have. I think he's
No,
saying
no,
that
God
if you
forbid.
don't, if you don't balance,
hit those goals.
if you, let's say the doctor example,
Yeah.
if you're, like Ellie just said, if you're not actually with the patient that's sitting across from you, you're not being a very good doctor. Does it really matter if you've ticked off the, that's checklist.
That's chitzoni.
Totally chitzoni.
Like the way we are with mitzvahs. Listen, it's painful to say this, but a doctor that has the goal of making sure he sees 25 patients, not Khalila, Simcha Peretz, I'm not putting you into any category. I'm just saying. No, I always feel nervous.
I find it funny discussion. I think that I've never worked for myself for the reason of I could never work that way. I have to see, this
Right,
many, and
right.
that's how I get. And I think, when you were saying that, my thought was, yeah, I think that you have to think about how you work and how you can work, because for me, I couldn't work like that where the patient is not the patient is just a number and a check. And again, I'm sure that
I never said that. I never said that, and I never will say that. But you have to deal with a reality where if you're a doctor in a hospital, right, and I was just going to use that example. I have an X amount of time to treat a patient, and then I have somebody else waiting in line. And that is something I have to deal with. If I'm fully in it, then I could have a line.
No. Slicha. You can be fully, exactly. Your concept of being fully in it is excuse me for saying it, is a chitzoni thing, because the only thing you keep on referencing to being fully in is a time issue, is
A time or a quota or...
Yeah, but that's all outside stuff. You could be fully with a client and listen, the Rambam, the Rashba, these were great physicians, right? Great physicians. Take the Rashba. Rabbi Shlomo used to talk about the Rashba a lot. We know the tshuvas of the Rashba. We have thousands of tshuvas of the Rashba, right? And he saw hundreds of clients a day. How could it be? Was that just legend? No, because when you're really, really with someone, they don't need you for more than the moment of being together. You understand the difference? Your concept of being fully in means I'll be stuck in there for hours. That's not true. You could be fully in the room with every client, 35 clients, and it could be a matzav that it's 90 seconds or 3 minutes, and guess what? They feel that and you feel that. It's all oneness. That's the truth. Have you ever been with the Rebbe that you waited for so long, then they ended up being with you for 2 minutes, but in a chitzoni way, you'd say, before you went in there, if he's just going to give me 2 minutes after all my achanas, that means he's not really my shorish neshama. But if you're really open, you can go in there. You could be there for 90 seconds. One look, one gaze. Like people that stood online for 6 hours to see the Rebbe on a Sunday afternoon to get $1. You think that they left with this feeling of, I waited for 6 hours, that's all the Shneerson gave me?
Or they don't even go because they're like, I'm only going to
Right, exactly.
seconds.
No, but those guys that speak like that, they can't imagine the real value of life that has nothing to do with time. It has to do with presence. That's the avoda over here.
I think the Ish Kodesh Yoshua answers your question a little bit too. When he talks about, like, okay, so you have this goal. You have a goal of, let's say, I want to be closer to Hashem. That's my goal. And so all of a sudden you're sitting there and you have expectations like, I have to be closer to Hashem by this mitzvah or that mitzvah, or by being happy, or by whatever those expectations are. And the Ish Kodesh says, wait a second, you're feeling sad right now? You're feeling sad? Great. Dive into that crack in your heart that feels sad. Pull it apart, open it up, twist it around. Be very present in that sadness. Be very right there. And embrace that and find how you connect to Hashem with that tool of sadness that Hashem's let into your heart. It doesn't mean get stuck in the sadness. It means that in that moment, use that tool of sadness to accomplish your goal of being closer to Hashem.
That's the name of, that's not the Ish Kodesh, the name of Shavatoh.
Well, I mean the Ish Kodesh.
Oh, the Rebbe, right, not in the Sefer. We learned this in the Chabura, we went through this, yeah.
So it's not just the association from the goal, it's just using the tools you have right now to accomplish it.
Let's go weiter, friends. The bottom paragraph here. בהגיע יהודי לצדיק, when a Yid comes to a tzaddik, שכאשר היה מגיע לצדיק בנעוריו, he remembers when he was a kid, what he used to do in order to prepare to come to a tzaddik. היה מכין את עצמו על ידי פעולות גדולות ועבודות קשות בדווקא, לפי דעתו ודמיונו ללא שאלת רב. He's saying, he was younger, he prepared himself, he toiveled, I don't know, he ran around naked in the snow or something, I don't know what he did, he rolled around Gilgal Sheleg, or fasted for 30 years, or whatever it is, right? He did all these achanas, right? ובמהלך השנים, and as the years went by, נחלש בכך, ונותר בלא כלום. The guy, after a few years of doing all these achanas, he gets weaker and weaker, he's left with nothing. ברם עליו לידע שבבואו לצדיק, יש לו להיות בבחינת מין במינו. If you walk into the tzaddik and you're comparing yourself to how you used to prepare to come see a tzaddik, you killed it. יש לו להיות בחינת מין במינו, שהרי הצדיק חי בהסתכלות שלמעלה מן הבריאה. The way that tzaddik looks is not the way at things, it's not the way the world looks and values things. The tzaddik values what hishtadlus you've done with where you're at now, and not comparing you to, the tzaddik doesn't look at you and say, I remember what you used to look like when you used to come to me when you were younger. The tzaddik values where you're at now. It's hard for us to believe that.
It's like you're limited by time. That's the way that I am. Like if you're godly or more eternal or connected to the source, so you don't have those kinds of things. So he doesn't see you that way. You see yourself
that way. And you think he sees you the way you see you. You don't even believe that he's a tzaddik.
Right.
You just think he's holy, but you think he's looking at you the way that you're comparing yourself to
You're
who
not
you
actually
were.
looking at yourself, though. You're thinking that he's thinking about you a certain way because of the hachanot you did.
Or didn't do.
Or didn't do.
Right.
So you're limited.
It's a routine. You made a routine for yourself,
Yeah,
and you're just
you're stuck in
routine.
it.
Without the routine, I
Right,
can't
you're projecting
be who
all
I'm
your
supposed
stuff
to
onto
be.
him.
Right?
You're just
Right.
projecting. You're just
And it's kind of
projecting.
like we learned before about Hashem, like I can't be with Hashem if I'm suffering or if like as if Hashem isn't big enough to like deal with me
Where I'm at. Exactly.
down low. Like
That's exactly the words he says here. He says, "Atzadik chai behistaklut shelemala min habriya." He looks at the world with this outlook that's higher than bria, than the way that things are down here, which is what lehachshiv et hanechshav be'enei Hashem. That he values only that which is valuable in Hashem's eyes. What's valuable in Hashem's eyes? What's impressive in Hashem's eyes? It could be one. It could be grabbing that one thing while you're in darkness. And not just what's important in the eyes of Brias. And therefore, what we have to strive to is to live in the inner way outlook of the tzaddik's way of looking at the world. We honestly, I'm thinking now, like, we could write up a month-long workshop just on this sikha. Easily.
They have.
Easily.
Wouldn't go any deeper. That'd be the problem.
What's that?
Wouldn't go any deeper. That'd be the problem.
What do you mean?
I mean, the idea of being present is to be close, not to be just present. right? That's the,
Bezrat Hashem. Yeah, so.
what, I was just thinking about like all the, what was the workshop you like to quote that you went to?
I don't like the quoting. Landmark?
Was that, yeah, Landmark or any of the modern versions of the.
Oh, Shakuf, you're saying that, the one in Israel.
No,
The breast
no,
of
it doesn't matter. They're all
Yeah.
the same idea with it. The whole goal is to make you stop thinking, right? So that you're present. But that's
Okay,
it,
yeah.
but it stops. It stops there.
No, avoda, but the avoda is endless.
No, our
It do-
mode is endless.
doesn't
because
stop.
Ours is to stop in order to connect to infinity.
Yeah, but it gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. It never ends. Okay, Hashem Yitbarach chafetz sheyehudi yichyeh. This is such a beautiful line. Hashem Yitbarach chafetz sheyehudi yichyeh lefi dargato. How does Hashem want you to live? Where you're at. He wants you to live with where you're at. Beharbe o bameat shelo. With the little or the a lot shelo, that it's his shelo. Sheyaseh lichvod Hashem. He should do it in honor of Hashem. Kfi dargato umekomo bahove. Wherever he's holding right now in the present. Ki hitkarvuto elatov yikara ad me'od. Because his closeness to the good is so precious and valuable. Af imhi be'od kechut tzara achat. Even if it's just one more hair's breadth, better. Now, this is basically a zamra, without saying it. Because a zamra is a zamra le'elokai be'odi. Ba'od sheyesh bi. I'm going to sing to Hashem with the one nikuda tova that I found. And believe that that is actually big stuff. And not think, oh, it's cute. It's actually big stuff. Now he ends off here. I just want to read the end over here. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but I'm actually not sorry it's taking so long. Quotes the Tanya. This is what the Alter Rebbe says. This is one of the reasons why I love this sefer so much. This Breslever Tzaddik quoting the Alter Rebbe. It's, to me, just Gan Eden, Mamish. Sheyeh libo sas v'sameach be'emunaso b'yichud Hashem. A person's heart should be bliss, sas v'sameach, sasam v'simcha, believing in the oneness of Hashem, betachlis ha-simcha, ki'ilu lo hayta alav rak mitzvah zo levada. As if you imagine that this is the only mitzvah in the world that Hashem wants you to keep. You know who messed this up? Big time? Adam HaRishon. Because he actually was the only person that only had one mitzvah to keep. Then he messed it up. We have 600, right? So he's saying over here, the Alter Rebbe is saying, can you just take...
What
Huh?
would we have done?
Right. Can you imagine he's saying just taking one mitzvah and just being with one mitzvah? And what is that mitzvah? You know how Reb Shlomo lived? You know what mitzvah was always in front of him? V'aftarecha kamocha, meaning love thy neighbor, whoever is your neighbor at any given moment. That's what was in front of him all the time.
We can look at ourselves as Adam HaRishon in this sense because we do this all the time. We mess up the one mitzvah that we're dealing with.
Which is right now. Very good.
That's
So
the mitzvah that
he just
matters.
answered. Okay, so anyway, let's just finish reading this. V'hi levada betachlis briyaso b'yes kol olamos. Hari bekoach v'chiyus nafsho b'simcha rabba zo. With this koyach and the chiyus of the nefesh and the simcha that you put into the one mitzvah that's in front of you, tit'aleh nafsho lemala mala. Your soul will ascend high above. Al kol hamonim kiyum kol atariyag mitzvahs mibayit umichutz. What'll end up happening to you? You'll be elevated and ascending higher to a place that goes above all the obstacles and preventions that prevents you from keeping all Torah and mitzvahs. Meaning, when I'm really with one mitzvah, you know what happens to me? It's on an outside way. You say, "Oh, you're ignoring the rest," right? Saying that's actually the gateway to keep the rest by focusing on just what's right in front of you. It's like a person says, "I'm not focusing on loving the world right now." Really? Yeah, I'm just focusing on loving who's next to me right now. So in Istaklus Chitzoni says, well, you don't really care about the world, you just care about who's next to you. A Pnimiyus level means I understand that be'emes, the only way I can come to loving the world is if I'm only concerned with who's next to me right now. That's our approach to Torah and mitzvahs. So needless to say, this was 5 pages, right? What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
We should make a scene.
I feel like it. Don't worry, we're starting a new Sikha of Rav Kluger on Sunday. This is another Sikha that's going to blow our minds. The Pnimiyus. This is a lot to digest. If Chaver missed one of the shiurim, I think it's just 4 shiurim we did on this. It's really kedai to listen to it. I myself have to chav this over and over again. Someone offered to transcribe this shiur right away when they started listening to it, because they felt that there's some yesodos that Rav Kluger is telling us here, and also the way that the Chaver here have developed it, that are really beneficial for Am Yisrael to just be healthier. Yeah, yes.
I'd love to hear what Tom has to say.
Always.
Just like, just general topic, just bring it.
Yes.
Bring it in.
I really do. I think this is could be the key to the kingdom. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can take this and actually put it in our lives,
Yeah.
it's revolutionary. I think. I really do. Stuff's unbelievable.
Because I think like even now when we talk about it, we always think of like avodas Hashem, of the mitzvahs, but really like in time we've had these talks, it's whatever we're doing. If you're playing on there, it's or you're at someone's house, you know, fixing something, or I'm doing something, and whatever it is, our avodas are, other than just putting on our tefillin, it's literally being in that moment and connecting that to Hashem and experiencing that moment and appreciating. Not saying, I can't wait till I'm done with this because then I can go to the next thing. You know, like we look at these chores of, okay, you know, I gotta cook, I gotta, you know, go to the grocery store for my wife, and then I get to go do this thing. It's no, Baruch Hashem, I get to go to the grocery store. And when I'm doing it, that's what I'm doing. And honey, did I miss anything? Can I get you
And
anything
this
else?
is
What can I
valuable in
do?
Hashem's eyes, like someone that's fasting for 3 years. If that's what's in front of you right now, that's the nikuda.
So it transforms every aspect. It's not just like, this is not just like a Shachris and Chamaira thing. This is everything that we do.
Im alidei Torah, or alidei tefillah, or avodah acheret. It's any avodah that I find myself involved with in this world. This is Pnimiyus. This is looking. This is gazing from within, and it's a really humbling piece to be in front of. And this is how. Whatever, I don't want to say, but you can't say words like this and not be close to what you're saying, you know what I mean? You can't just make up these titles. It's not like a nice theory, like a nice
Can't just bring us on an intellectual level.
No.
No, just looking at this last line, he says, "B'emunah so yichya daika kitchias hamesim."
Mamish.
If he didn't want to get hit in the head, right?
Mamish. Look at this bottom, I'm sorry. Look at this bottom paragraph over here, okay? Hine yesha megi'im liyemei yortzeit shel avim rabosayim. There are those that they come to their father's yortzeit or their rebbe's yortzeit on the calendar. Bechevan she'en lem et ha'istaklos ha'pnimis, since they don't have this pnimiyus way of looking at things, lehachshiv et eichut ha'me'at ha'yakar be'enei Hashem, to value the little bit of quality, which is valuable in Hashem's eyes, v'hagorem ilui le'neshama, and even the little bit that you do, which is on an inside level, does cause an ilui for the neshama, an elevation of the soul. He says, what are they looking for? Mechapsim adayin ma'acher ma shenechshav be'enei ha'olam. They start imagining, well, what does the world consider valuable? And I have to do that if I really want to cause an elevation of a soul. Kegon siyum masechta shlema bedavka v'chayotze b'zeh. It's only if I finish a siyum, if I finish masechta, only if I do a whole masechet. Now he's not belittling Talmud Torah, but he's belittling people that value that's what matters.
He's the Rebbe, so he's watching us all day.
Oh,
Guys coming to him, so
yeah.
it's only for his honor. What, you didn't go to the mikvah before you came to me? You didn't go ahead and do all these machanos for me? Like, he's seeing this all day, and he's saying, you guys aren't getting it.
We're talking about businessmen, they're working yom v'layla. So they can't reach it. They can't reach this goal of what they think is considered valuable. ובמהלך השנים כבר אין בכוחם לכך, ומושכים ידיהם לגמרי מלעשות דבר מה לטובת הנשמה. So what ends up happening? They end up completely leaving any attempt to do anything for the elevation of the soul. Why? Because in their eyes, if I didn't get to do a siyam masechet, On the yard site? Then what? I'm going to say a little Mishnah? That's going to be the... So I might as well, I'm not, whatever, if I can't do that, I'm not going to do anything. That's what it causes them. V'rav tzaram al kach, tachat zot sheyidu. This is so deep what he says. They should know. שהנשמה מייחלת לכל עניין קטן של כבוד שמיים הנעשה בהי עלמא. You want to give nachas to the neshama of the departed? They long for any action which causes kavod shamayim that's done in the merit of their soul. Anything. Mitoch emuna v'simcha shlema, that you believe and you have simcha in what you're doing. Shemikoch kach yigrom la ha'ilui amiti. This is what really causes the neshama. But yeah, you didn't end up building a shul in memory of your father? Guess what? Not everyone gets to build shuls. That's okay. But don't say, since I wasn't able to do that, then I probably, the little bit I do, like inviting someone to my house for a kiddush in my father's yard side and having a l'chaim and saying a dvar Torah, that's not considered anything. He says, that is the sheker of this world. That's the sheker of this world. He says, the neshama longs for moments where God's glory becomes greater in the world, in the merit of their soul. It could be the smallest thing in the world. And that's how we have to start looking at things and viewing things and feeling things and acting from that place with emuna and simcha shlema alavai Ribono Shel Olam. We're all here asking you, begging of you to make this Torah alive in our lives and to tell us exactly, to keep on talking with us and guiding us, to tell us what we need to do in order for a Torah like this to be something completely non-theoretical but only actual. Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach. All right, shukran, boys.